Hey, what is up, you guys? Long time no see. You have joined in on Talking Shop, Ohio Distance Running's #1 podcast. I'm here with the usual squad. We got Nathan Moore to my left, Noah Grant to my right. I'm Hunter Moore. Let's get it started with our last cross-country talk, probably of the year, because...
Kind of.
Meet,
We got a lot left.
Meet, yeah.
Indoor.
It's tough,
Indoor.
boys. No more cross rest of the
It's
season.
sad.
Oh, last cross country.
Last
yeah.
cross-country, yeah.
We
We're
got,
off the grass.
We got Footlocker still. We'll touch on
That
it.
is true. Last collegiate cross-country. How about I
Sure. Yeah.
refine it to that?
The meat of the season is over. The anticipation built, and this is probably... I'm not going to say this is peak episode for cross country, but a lot of cool things that happened in this one.
Yeah, sure. We'll fire it off by talking about the first race of the day in Seattle, the Division II National Championship race, men's edition. Team-wise, the only team was ours, Walsh, that got out. Probably a bit of an underperformance. Obviously.
Respectfully.
Yeah, unfortunately to say. 18th, that's right.
Third year in a row at 18th.
Yes, and 1 point better than last year. And looking into this team had a lot more potential. Just the fact of it all, I brought in Zach, Nathan sophomore got two of these stud freshmen, Graham, Evan, Gerald. Underperformance, but that happens at the big meet. Stuff happened. A lot of our guys fell. Drew fell. You did not fall. Zach fell.
Julian was running with
one shoe
the last 1.5 miles.
Stuff like that unfortunately happens. The 18th place, but there was a few highlights off the team. I mean,
Absolutely.
Obviously, there's definitely some good talking points. Started off the two All-Americans, the first All-American men's distance runners in Walsh history. Congrats to them both. One's right here, Nathan Moore, 40th place, nabbed that last
Squeezed in.
Squeezed in. He knew what he was
Squeezed
doing.
in,
He knew what he
man.
was doing.
I squeezed in, man.
Yes, he got that medal though. He was flexing that medal yesterday at lunch. It was sweet. It was.
Yeah, dude, let me tell you, this might be the most I've ever exerted in a cross country race, or the most I've ever. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say this is the most effort I've ever put into the second half of a cross country race. Because about 3K out at mile 4, I was in 56th place. I might have even dropped back a little farther after that marker, but I ended up at 40th at the finish at 10K.
It honestly wasn't too
grinded.
close. Prather of Concord was 2.5 seconds behind you for that 41st spot.
Yeah, I had room, man, but
Yeah. You had 2.5 seconds.
2.5.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, conditions out there in Seattle. It was wet.
Man.
It was muddy. We got there. Snow was on the ground.
Yeah.
It was cloudy.
But the course
Yeah.
was beautiful.
It's a beautiful course.
Beautiful. Surrounded by lakes, mountains.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
it was
you
incredibly
had your
beautiful.
mountains on the one side, lake on the other. I mean, I was there. I came out to support the boys. It was a pretty cool course. I mean, the weather in Seattle. I mean, the stereotype of Seattle. It's always raining in Seattle.
But the course was trashed.
And the
Let me
course
tell you, though,
was
cold.
I
muddy.
feel bad for the landscaper of Chambers Bay Golf Course.
That golf course.
They're
is-
gonna have a
is
heck of a
messed
time
up,
fixing
man.
that piece back
That's
up,
exactly
bro.
what I thought.
I didn't know that place is a golf course.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
is. Yeah,
That's-
it's a pretty
that's-
big one too. Yeah. I just
That's
feel
gonna
bad.
suck.
Yeah, so, and I said there was a lot of slippage and foliage, and that was the main reason, I feel like, was because of the slick traction.
Slippage and foliage.
It wasn't much as the jostling, I don't think, as it was just the terrain.
I mean, there was some
I'm sure
jostlage
there
too.
was. It's
I
a
mean,
national
bro,
meet.
I got out and that's just what happens. A lot of pushing and shoving. I almost fell off my feet like 3 times in the first 800 meters. I almost put my arms out like this and was just bouncing off people. You got to
Yeah.
keep those arms out.
Yeah.
Especially that's what happens when you get out fast and you try and get yourself a good
You gotta
position.
be kind of athletic. And, they don't say running is an athletic sport, but you kind of got to be in that
Yeah,
spot.
but
You don't wanna-
it was so hard to get out too, just because the first 100 meters, first quarter mile was the muddiest part of the race,
Right.
or the wettest part of the race.
Yes, sure.
So
sure.
it was an experience. All right, it was a
Yeah.
good one though.
Yeah,
Fun.
it was. Let's touch up on another. This isn't a Walsh guy, but another Ohio athlete that ran in this meet that did super well was 37th place. Evan Least. He kind of came alive late this year.
When it counts, when it matters.
And that's exactly what he's supposed to. He peaked at the right time. He was outside shot looking in last week at regionals. I think he would have been fine even with an okay race because they took a lot of guys out of our region. But Evan Least clutched up and got an All-American performance of 37th place. Impressive performance by that lad. Congrats, man.
Yeah.
He's super talented. And like I said earlier, he had some COVID problems last year that derailed his cross season. It's great to see him back and running very, very well again.
Yeah, and I want to touch up on that race just because I was right next to him at the finish. He did a completely different race than me. I started out in around 40th place, faded back, then caught back up. But Evan Lee started in around 130th place at the 1.2K and consecutively made up like 10, 20 spots every single mile. And eventually at like, I believe it was like 7K or 6K, he comes up behind me and puts a hand on my back, almost like a, come on, let's go, Nathan. I tried to work with him. He dropped me, but we ended up making a connection back. But, dude, he hunted the whole time, and let me tell you, he deserves this.
He's a fighter.
He really deserves this. A great race by him.
You know, I feel like that must be his comfortability level of race style. I mean, that's exactly what he did at Ohio, obviously to a lot lesser degree. He went out really slow and came like live and got 6th in that All-Ohio race.
Yeah, man.
He just must have liked negative display. Obviously, regionals was different. He had to put himself in there, and he did. He led the regionals for a while.
Yeah, dude. It's impressive, the versatility. He can do it from the front. He can do it from the back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But, yeah. Moving on, though, to our top finisher from Ohio in this meet.
Our very own.
Zach Kreft, 4th place. As far as I know, it's the highest place finish of a GMAC runner in cross country. I know Alexa Lappelmeyer of Walsh was 2nd in steeplechase in track, but as far as cross country goes, this is as high as we've ever seen. And Zach Kreft, unbelievable race. He was in 3rd with about 300, 400 to go, and Catch and Shada potentially slipped on the ground the last turn. A lot of guys slipped there. He ended up fading to 5th, but outkicked a really talented runner who won the 5K in outdoor for rookie Zuru to get 4th. Congrats, Zach. That's just a big-time performance from a big-time runner. Led the team. Definitely carried this team. Not much more to say than that. That was impressive. Other than that, Jordan Foster, Noah Fisher race. Fisher was unfortunately off a little bit. He got 71st. I think he was up. He was in the All-American spot early and faded. Unfortunately not the finish he wanted this year. Jordan Foster, 103rd. Just an all right performance. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Sure.
And then Max Kuchar, of course, we'll touch up on him. Malone runner, peaked at the right time.
He did.
Squeaked
Good
into that
surprise.
national meet.
Somehow, no disrespect.
19th place at regionals usually doesn't make it out, but gosh, I'm sure glad it did because he really made the most of that opportunity with an 89th place finish. He ran really well. Max Kuchar had a breakout season. Congrats to the boys south of town, down in Canton, Ohio.
Absolutely. Huge race for him.
For sure. Quick touch up on the girls' race, women's race right after that. There's only one Ohio. There's a team, so the 7 Ohio runners in it. Cedarville, and they unfortunately did not have their best day. It wasn't horrible. Oh, I'm on the men's. Sorry. Oh, sorry. What place did they get? I'm sorry.
Cedarville women got 7th.
Oh, good day. I'm sorry. I was in the wrong spot.
That's
sorry.
what they were ranked coming
yes,
into this.
they had a great day. They were fine. Yes. I don't know why I thought they didn't do
This
good.
was
They
the
did.
most predictable women's season ever, bro. Like nationally.
This is true.
Like the preseason coaches rankings didn't change at all the whole year.
Really?
And at the national meet, they finished exactly how they were slated. Cedarville ranked 7th, finished 7th in the
Predictable.
national meet.
Wow.
National meet.
I think Savannah Ackley was 41st, and yes, she was. She was their top runner.
41st?
She was 4 seconds off that last All-American spot, because top 40 is All-American. I don't know if we mentioned that earlier, but that's why we were so excited about Nathan getting 40th. But Savannah Ackley right off that. Team ran well, though. Congrats to Cedarville girls on an amazing season. Good luck to them in indoor. Great stuff. Last part of the college we want to talk about was we want to do our final cross country power rankings on individual sides, men's and women's, for runners in Ohio. We'll start with the women's. I'll kind of just go through these. 5th place, I had Savannah Ackley. Just talked about her 41st place finish. She's been pretty solid all year. She came alive at Alabama Huntsville. Really good finish for her. 4th, Carmen Riano of Miami. We talked about her. She made nationals through D1, which is an incredibly impressive feat. And she had herself a really nice season going sub-20. Faith Lingot of Toledo, 3rd, and Joy Churcher of Toledo as well, 2nd. They both had really amazing seasons, and those two ran well at nationals.
Mm-hmm.
Then first has got to be Addie Engels, top 10 at nationals. She's insane. She's a really talented runner at Ohio State, and she's my top runner of the year. I don't really think there's too much debate on that. I feel like she deserves that for sure. Guys team, I did 10 because I'm more experienced, more well-versed in the men's. 10th place, Simon Hayes of Wilmington. He did a really solid job this year. Maybe didn't have that breakout time he wanted, but cross country is really not about time. Ended up getting another All-American accolade at the national meet. Didn't place as high as last year, but did himself a fine job. Congrats to Simon Hayes. 9th and 8th, Tyler Worth, Milo Greer, the UC boys. They had a hot start to the season, and they kind of cooled off by regionals, I'm not going to lie to you. they weren't really in the mix at all to make it out. I mean, beforehand, I'm sure they were, but in the results of the race, they weren't really up there. That kind of faded the results. I'm weighing more of the postseason when it matters more than early season. So that 23-20 of theirs early season was really impressive, but they didn't really follow that up the rest of the year. But still, they were really good this year. I'm not gonna discredit them or anything. Seventh placed Dennis Mute. I know he got hurt end of the year, might have hurt his chances of making nationals, but he still was fine. He 35th place finish at regionals, sub 24. Dennis Mute was a solid runner. Do you got anything to say about that, Nathan?
I do.
Yeah.
Actually, well, it's not specifically about Dennis Mute.
Yeah.
But where's Chase Easterling? You got to put Chase Easterling in there because Chase Easterling was 38th at the regional.
Okay.
And Dennis Mute, I feel like you got to put him right next at least 5th or 6th, 7th.
7th, 8th. Yeah, honestly.
Right in that zone. I mean, there's not really much of a difference in that zone anyways between anyone.
Yeah.
But I think you got to put him ahead of
you're right.
Milo, Greedo, Worth, and Hayes.
And I think honestly, I don't know what I did there. I think I just went on my own, went against my own logic of weighing the later season races, and I don't think I did that with Chase, even though he was pretty good all year. So I apologize. I think I'm going to change that. I'm going to put Chase Easterling 7th,
Sure.
Mute 8th. Everyone else I just said behind that. Getting into the top 6, we got Nathan Moore right here, 6. We talked about him, 40th place finish. Yep, we all know about Nathan. 5th place, Evan Least, the other guy. He beat Nathan head-to-head in nationals at regionals, so we had to jump him, and he had an impressive end of the year. Opsafete was your MAC champ. He's 4th on my list, a Miami runner. Didn't run as well at regionals, had a real shot at making it out. He got 20-something. He didn't do terrible, but not as high as he wanted to place. Nonetheless, he had a really good season throughout. Beatty Baugh, number 3. He gets our bronze medal for Ohio runners this year, and he's been on fire. We talked about him a ton when he made nationals. He did fine at the national meet, nothing crazy, but he wasn't expected to be up there, obviously. That's such a talented field at Division I. And he just went sub 14 at Boston this past weekend, which was a crazy fast meet. So congrats to him on that, and that will definitely put him top 3. 2 and 1 should be pretty obvious. Zach Kreft 2. What he's done this year has been better than everyone else except for who's going to be first. His accolades this year have been really impressive. 4th place at D2, regional champion. He's done it all. Number 2. Number 1 though, it's because of the head-to-head matchup. You got to put him on. Alex Phillip, JCU D3 national champ. He didn't really have much competition the whole lot. At the end of the year, he just did what he wanted, won the race.
He's a boss. He's a player in the D3.
Yeah.
Does Alex Phillip have GV on deck next week?
I have heard no.
Because
no indoor for him. Oh,
because his coach, So his coach wanted to make a decision before he ran indoors. So because of that, I don't think he's ready to make a decision on what he's transferring to. Transferring to. So he will not be running GV because of that, which is interesting.
Don't we have some new leaked information?
My dad heard from a friend that Alex Phillip might be going to NC State. That's not for sure. It's just a rumor. I mean, this friend...
Basically, everywhere's on the table.
Yeah, basically, I've heard Portland, I've heard Wisconsin, I've heard NC State.
I would...
Boys, I think we're being played. We're being played at this point.
We might be played.
I would think the Wisconsins of the world might be a little out of play. It seems a step too... For a guy with 1 year of eligibility left...
That was an old rumor too.
I think
that's an old.
Yes,
rumor.
I'm just saying when you're talking. Okay, so he's clearly undecided. We know that much.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the teams like Wisconsin who are as good or better are probably the only ones who are off the table. He's got 1 year left. Would he even score at Wisconsin? Probably, maybe, but
he have a chance, but he wouldn't be a for sure score like he would be at the other schools.
Right, and he could go somewhere a hair lower. That's going to make the national meet next year and get a lot more money. You know,
makes sense. I'm assuming all those guys are young at Wisconsin. I'm assuming there's not much money probably. If I had to guess,
I would assume so as well.
Yeah, that's my rankings. Then last little touch up, we like to do a little shout out here to those guys who ran from Ohio. But actually, Carmen Riano did not run from Ohio, but she runs from Miami. But she went sub 16 at Boston this past week. I know we just talked about Beatty Baugh doing that, but Carmen Riano also did. Went 15:50.
That's fast.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
That's fast.
It was a really quick meet, obviously. Then Sydney Seymour, she's from St. Joe's. We talked about her one time. St. Joe's, I think, from Ohio. She ran for Tennessee. Grad transferred to NC State. She was on their national championship lineup. She's a stud. She went 15:35. Super impressive race. And then Sam Bush of Cincinnati Turpin went 8:54 in a 3K. That's a school record for them, which for a stacked historically stacked team to get a school record in any distance is incredibly impressive. So congrats, Sam Bush. And then on the guys' side, lastly, we talked about Beatty Ball. Congrats to him. And then Chad Johnson, 1333 from my guy.
Chad
Congrats
Johnson
to him. He's back, baby. He missed cross country nationals, unfortunately, but
that stinks because he ran well too. He was 15th at the region and ran 29:56 there on grass.
Yeah. But what he did
Poor
at
guy.
Boston, just, that's more impressive than anything he's done, I think. So really impressive stuff from him. But, yeah, that's all I got for college. If, Graham, you want to take away on the high school biz?
Absolutely. Something I want to touch on real quick, and I don't know these numbers off the top of my head. I just came up with it as we're talking about Boston, right?
Yeah.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Last year, Abdi Nur, NCAA record 1306.
Yes.
Yes.
That is correct.
I don't know what the indoor record is, but Kai Robinson just ran 1311.
That's
Alex
right.
Mayer just ran 1311.
That's
Drew
right.
Bosley 1313.
Nico 13:15.
Yes. Ooh. Is 1306 getting broken now? I mean, what's the it's a matter of time before a collegiate runner goes sub 13.
It'll happen.
It is so
It'll happen.
competitive. The
Yeah.
availability to get in pro races is so accessible now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and like I said, maybe someone could get an indoor record for me. You know, you get these indoor meets. It's perfect conditions, obviously, but these guys are coming off of 10K shape. A lot of them are training similar, though, on the track. So on track, you got to have some things click right. You got to you got to assume no one's going to go for a double at these championship meets. The weather's got to be good.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't even got to be good, but it's got to be sustainable to run sub 13. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to get a 1311, I'm thinking in December, someone's got to be
Yeah.
getting close to 1306,
Right.
especially because Kai Robinson's a junior. I don't know if he's 24 years old or not, but
No, he went to. I don't think so because he was from I just saw.
no,
his
he's
Footlocker
not. He's
result.
not.
Yeah.
I was just
Dude, that record is absolutely being broken of 13:06, and here's why. Kai Robinson, he has Charles Hicks to train with, who was also the NCAA
And
Division
Cole
I
Sprout.
championship,
and Cole Sprout.
But yeah, more notably Charles Hicks because of what he did at the national
Sure.
champion, and he's a player on the track, and he's a player in those 5K and 10K events. So he has someone to train with. Like, there's no reason why he can't better himself in the next couple of months.
Right.
Also, looking over to the NAU scene, Drew Bosley, Nico Young just ran 13:50. Nico Young has gone 13:11 on the outdoor circuit before, and they have each other to train with. I watched an interview, and they're just like, yeah, we're going to take a couple days off, like 4 or 5, and just get right back into it and try and
Sure.
chase after some records. And
Yeah.
this is a program where they have been running so stupid fast for so long that their coach and their training is just optimized for this kind of thing. So I think you get all these guys back together in about 2-3 months, and I think we have an opportunity to see that record go down. They have the facilities, they have the training partners, they can get into the races, they have the technology. Everything is set. It just has to go
Stage
right.
is set.
It just has
the
to go
sub
right.
2 project.
I was hoping to
Yeah.
see a little Charles Hicks this weekend, but no dice.
Yeah, me too. Where's he at?
Then race.
maybe satisfied with this.
Do you think he could be doing like the world cross country scene? Because he's done that before.
Yeah, he
He
might
raced
be.
in Europe.
Yes.
did.
Yes, that's what he did.
So Aaron Beinfeld raced at St. Parsons also did. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, that's what he did.
Look that up.
You look that up. I'll get
I'll-
started. Some high school.
Let me throw in
Oh,
Dylan
never
Jacobs'
mind, I
name.
lied.
I'll throw in Dylan Jacobs.
Yeah,
as
you
well,
talk
right,
about
13.
Dylan until I get this.
Well, he went 13-14 last year at indoor at Boston as well, so he didn't run this past weekend.
Dylan
so,
Jacobs.
Yeah, last year.
13-14.
That's filthy.
So I
you
think
kidding
he-
me?
now?
get him in there as well. There's a chance that sub 13 might be going down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget who was that.
Charles Hicks.
I just see him on the Google, hands on keyboard, nothing typed.
All right, you pull that up. Let's
Yeah,
see what we got.
Let's throw in some high school.
We're jumping some high school action. We got
Yes,
some cool
sir.
stuff. We had Garmin. We had a Footlocker regional last weekend. So 10 days ago last weekend. But then just a couple days ago, we had RunningLane. And we also had Nike Nationals. Few qualifiers, performers in each. We'll get right into it. We'll start off with RunningLane just this past weekend. Katie Clute ran there. Course was slow. Course was trashed. She ran 18:02.
Throw the times away.
I think it's her slowest time of the year,
Yeah.
but the
Throw
times
it
that won
away.
the boys and girls respectively were not fast. But also, the competition did not, quote unquote, or run towards RunningLane this year. Everyone went to Nike. RunningLane and
Yeah.
Nike were on the same weekend. And here's something I actually saw too. a Footlocker regional meet was this weekend as well.
What?
Yes.
So it was
got-
very watered down.
Name Sadie Englehart, ring about anybody? She's a sophomore. She ran 4:36 as a freshman. She's filthy.
They can do that in high school now?
Filthy.
That's possible?
Anyways,
Oh, my God.
I saw a Instagram post of her qualified for a Footlocker meet. Good for her, but she didn't run Nike, which she's definitely a player. 100 mile splitter. She's crazy. But anyways, Katie Kloot got 10th. She ran 18:02. I think she's between 12th and 16th in the nation right now on the national rankings. So that is not the performance she was hoping
'cause
for.
Obviously, it's super filtered down.
Right.
So she should have been top 5, top 3.
Right,
essentially.
absolutely. I don't know, no disrespect to Katie, how her training's geared, what they peaked for,
Well, she still has Footlocker.
how
right?
even solid her training is, to be truthful with you. I mean, it's obviously working for her regardless. But if you're as good as Katie Kloot, you're going to run fast, I think, no matter what.
Just with that talent, yeah.
Right.
Of course.
And Katie Kloot's awesome. We had her on the podcast. Obviously, go check out her interview. She's been running hard for a long time. You start in August. We're talking about December 3rd to race the national meet. That's a long time, not even physically, but mentally, to just be hammering week after week after week. But regardless, 10th RunningLane, I'm sure was a cool experience. That course is usually known for those fast times we always talk about. And we were always we've been talking all year, curious to see where everyone kind of drafts to. Is there people going to go RunningLane, people going to go Nike, same weekend? Well, people went Nike. But regardless, good for Katie.
Yeah.
That'll kind of move me over into our next topic, which would have been Footlocker. This is from November 26th. So like I said, about 10 days ago. I'll kick it off with the girls' top, correct me if I'm wrong, boys. 10 individuals qualify for the National Footlocker meet over in San
1-0.
Diego.
Yes, sir.
So on the girls' side, and this is the Kenosha course, nothing too crazy. Times are always fine for majority of people, but nothing too crazy. So coming in at 7th, though, continuing, Katie Kloot ran 17:49 to qualify for Footlocker Nationals in San Diego, which is next weekend, so 5 days away. Awesome for her. Obviously, you qualify to these national meets. RunningLane is kind of not first come, first serve, but they go off a performance list then to make it in. So to qualify for a meet like Footlocker is very prestigious. It's been around for a long time. It was Kinney, then it was Footlocker, and now it is Champs, actually, but we all call it Footlocker because that's what we know it
Footlocker,
as.
Come on.
And something else I want to note, bet you guys didn't even see this, our girl Sarah Peer from Westlake, 11th.
I did see it. Yep.
11th.
So
absolutely brutal. But
There's no at-large bids
and it
for
was
Footlocker.
by 5 seconds.
Ah.
So she wasn't there.
Yeah. She's a junior, though.
She is a junior, so she's got a real good chance next year, and she's progressed very well throughout high school. Also, we had Megan Hipple at 20th, D3 girl from McDonald.
Of course. Yep.
So that's actually a fine performance for her. It's just you get to some of these schools, but truthfully, in the Midwest, it's kind of a similar pattern throughout. Everyone had their state meet nearly a month ago. It's a long season.
Hard to sustain that.
that's
That's
just tough,
so
man.
The season's starting either in the 3rd or 4th week of August. You're racing your goals at that state meet, and then anything after that is nearly an add-on. For example, listen to this, guys. For Nike, so we're talking about, you run your state meet, then you got to run your Nike regional to qualify for the national meet, potentially looking a month after your state meet to run that Nike national meet.
Yeah.
California, there is one of the regions for NXR is California.
Right.
The formula is their state meet.
Yeah, I knew
They
that.
don't even run in NXR. Think about
I
the
didn't realize
advantage.
that.
I knew that.
Think just in terms of training, how much of an advantage you have if you live in California for NXR and NXN.
Yes.
You race NXR and then which is your state meet as well, and then and I wonder how they do awards for that actually, because I don't know the answer to that. And then the next week you get to race NXN. Whereas if you're from Ohio, and like I said, most of these Midwest schools, you go your state meet, NXR, then you got 3 weeks till Nike. That's a long time. Maybe it's 2 weeks.
Right.
But no, it's 3. That's a long time to be training. That's hard. Everyone's not in the same shape. Some people can hold that better than others. But That's how it is. No, what are you going to do about it? I mean,
Yeah.
everyone else would have to be on the same schedule, which
Yeah,
isn't
that's
possible.
the one thing. Everyone races each other. Everyone has to deal with that, so
Right.
that's crazy.
Move us over to the boys at Footlocker, or champs. We brought over a very similar field from Nike. Unlike the girls, we saw some different players. We didn't see a Katie Clute at Nike, Sarah Peer as well. But on the boys' side, basically brought everyone over. Like I said, top 10. We got Connor Ackley, got 6th, ran 15:11. To qualify him for his second national meet. He just ran Nike the other day. And so keep in mind, this is 2 weeks ago. And so then we'll just talk about the 1 week ago, which would have been the Nike results. Yep. But we got Connor Ackley was 6th, and then Tommy Rice, the boy from Glen Oak, 5 minutes down the road, 10th, squeezed out closer to 9th and 11th, so a little bit of cushion, but obviously a phenomenal race for him. So they both made it out. Hunter Jones was on a tear, actually shattered the Nike record the week before, came back, won by 10 seconds at Footlocker, 14:52, set himself up absolutely phenomenal for the Nike meet. I'm just kidding. He didn't run all that well compared to what he had been doing.
Dude, he ran pretty well.
He ran well, but
14:57 on that course is, I believe, before this year, that would be like number 4 or 5 all time on that course.
What place do you get?
What are you talking? I'm talking about at Nike. Now
he was 10th.
14:57 at Nike Nationals.
Okay, I apologize. I thought it must have missed him.
Yeah, he was 10th. 14:57 on that course.
Look at my results. I'm missing 8, 9, and 10 on my results.
I saw that.
what
No, if you're on formatted results on MileSplit, it's messed up. But
That's why.
you have to go
Don't
to the
look at formatted on Miles.
go to the completed results.
Yeah,
I'm full of crap.
It's not as pretty, but
He ran
it's got the
phenomenal.
data.
Regardless, Cole Matheson,
About to throw the crap on him for no reason. over
Cole
here.
Matheson, who beat Hunter Jones both weeks, or who got beat by Hunter Jones both weeks before, it got 4th from the Midwest. I mean, that's just unprecedented. But the point of Nike, Connor Ackley, 18th. That's a phenomenal race.
Awesome.
Kind of how I compare this to the other guys was, so if you're 4th in the region, there's I think 9 regions for Nike. So you're talking 36 automatic individuals. If you took everyone's 4th runner, that'd put you between the 33 and 36 mark. And he was 18th. So that's phenomenal for him. I mean, the Midwest guys tore it up. I mean, 4th,
And that's probably why he got
10th,
10th in the
and
region.
18th.
Because that region is that stacked.
Right.
But that's awesome. Congrats to Connor Ackley. Great season.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I do say, though, I think not placing higher kind of shuts the door for my sake on being the top Ohio runner of all time. That might be a topic for a different
We're
day.
already getting into that?
No.
Maybe later.
We might touch on that in a second. I want to get through some other stuff before that.
Sure.
18th. Again, it's one of those things where Hilliard-Davidson, I'm sure they have good training. They traditionally have good, solid teams in Division I. But regardless, Ackley has been running hard for a long time. He opened up 3rd week of August at the OHSAA preseason meet, and I think he has ran every single weekend. I mean, I was looking on his mile split before this, and I was like, oh my gosh, this dude has like 15 races this year.
He runs
That's insanity.
5 times as much races
I
as
mean,
just D1 good guys in college.
And some people, for lack of a better word, are just a robot and can do that week after week. I am not one of those guys.
You're a broken robot.
And so 18th, I mean, national meet, it's phenomenal. I do want to touch on, actually about as far as from Ohio as possible, Aaron Solman won the meet by 7 seconds. Word on the street, there is mad beef between Aaron Solman and the Young Twins. I mean, mad beef. He came across the finish line, L in each hand. That was supposed to represent Lex and Leo. Apparently, he's some form of banned or kicked off the team. They don't get along.
Are you serious?
He's not on Newbury Park anymore.
Go over to
they took him off
anyone who listens. Go over to some of the the websites here, like the Nike Nationals, Instagram,
that crap all over it.
or Runner Space, or any DieSat. Anyone who posts about this stuff. You will not find Aaron Solman and the Young Twins in the same pictures after the Nike meet. You can't find them anywhere. You will find the one picture of Newbury Park's team. There's only 5 guys in the team picture.
The podium picture?
Yes.
That's
no Young
Lex
Twins there.
yeah.
I don't
the
know.
Young Twins aren't on the podium?
No, they're not.
I don't know what happened.
Sad, yeah.
It's crazy.
To me,
Bro,
I don't know the
Nico,
full
get on
story.
that.
I feel like that's bad sportsmanship, though. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't
know the full story.
I need context.
I feel like
I need-
gotta be. Even though they didn't run as well, they should have been up there.
I need
But something could have happened.
context.
You're right.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy drama. Yeah.
From everything I've seen on social media, and I was over in New York last year at New Balance, and we met some of the Newbury Park guys. The young twins seem very kind of nice, genuine people. I have no clue what's happening between everybody.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Okay, quick comment. I just typed into the Google search bar. I type in Aaron Solomon, and the first thing that comes up is kicked off team.
Wow. Okay, maybe find a few
It's
details.
more than a rumor
Boys,
now.
let's get on Let's
Maybe
Run.
find
Let's
it-
check this out.
Oh, that's right. Maybe find a few details for us. And me and
Let's
Hunter.
Run probably. Yeah, Let's Run will definitely. I mean, some of them might be false though. I don't know.
Right.
Who knows? It's just such a
I'll eat it up. I don't care.
freaking gossip.
So
goblin.
that wraps up kind of our high school cross country. We'll obviously be looking forward to indoor coming up here.
And then obviously Footlocker Nationals too.
Right. Footlocker Nationals will be
Mr.
huge.
Ackley,
We'll have to
Mr. Rice. Yep.
We'll have to follow. You're fine. We'll follow up Footlocker. Then we're gonna see our top guys take some downtime. We'll look definitely to see some big stuff indoors eventually. I'm sure we'll see some big 2 miles, some big miles.
Yeah.
But it's it takes getting everyone in the same race to do that indoors. Not quite as deep. Ackley and Rice are probably gonna take if they do it right, they're gonna take a little bit.
They'll run
to get going again.
Probably one good race, run indoor.
Right, and I would expect something probably early February.
That's usually when it
even-
goes. The
I mean-
showcase. That's still a big meet. And when I was in high school, that was the
yes,
meet.
it is.
Yeah.
It
Inspire
is.
Showcase.
But I mean, they're going late and they're running a lot. I don't know if they're going to feel burnt or what's happening. But
Yeah,
we're looking
probably
forward to
shouldn't.
indoor, hopping on the track. Makes podcasts a little bit easier. Everyone runs on the same distance track.
True.
But Hunter, I want to touch on a little bit while we're talking about Ackley.
Yeah.
And this is something we talked about on our run a couple weeks ago. We talk about the best runners in Ohio. Ackley broke the course record at Terre Haute. That is, it's been around for a while. He ran faster than a lot of guys before him. He was fourth on the day. Was there magic in the air? Where do you think this puts him kind of all time? You don't need to give me an exact number, but I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Great question. Let's dive in. I don't
Okay,
know.
well-
Nathan, yeah, you say something first.
Looking at it, it gets a little tricky because you have to base this off what do you call the greatest of all time. Like you have to acknowledge that competition does get better over time. So say someone runs 15 flat and wins the national meet in 2010, and then someone runs 15 flat in 2020 and takes 10th place. Who's the better athlete? They both ran the same time, but one failed to compete. This is what I'm getting at, is because Dustin Horder, who is in the discussion, ran a 15:21 at Nike Cross Nationals, same course, and Connor Ackley goes 15:20 and runs a faster time. But
some
that
years
throws in
that's
another
sixth
variable, though.
place to 18th
That
place.
throws another variable.
Okay.
Yeah,
in.
but sometimes
how do you?
we all know that course in that's Seattle, right?
Portland, Oregon.
Portland. And that it's a lot of years it's rainy, it's trashed. I mean, there's an iconic picture of Nico Young winning it and he's just drenched.
It's
'cause
like that.
rained the whole
That
time.
every year, though.
No, it wasn't. Go look at the pictures this year.
Can
It
I
is
throw a
dry.
variable?
It's pristine. They have this.
it was dry Dustin's
beautiful-
year, right?
They have the beautiful NXN. When he ran 15:21, there's no way the course is
Hunter-
the same conditions.
Hunter said, "Yeah." Hunter's about to get shot.
Or maybe I don't know. But okay, so yes, that's a fact. Weather might be a variable. Another big variable though that we're not talking about is training methods. We talked about this before in the podcast. I mean, a 9 flat in 1990 is a lot better than a 9 flat in 2022. It just is.
Sure.
It is. So when you look at the greatest of all time, I don't think it's all on the time. Is a little bit on the time they're running? Sure. I think it's the mixture of accolades plus dominance
Sure.
that makes them the best. And Ackley's done both all year long, and 18th is very fine. I don't think it's the best in Ohio. I think top 10 in Ohio
The
history.
accolades struggle.
Yeah.
The accolades struggle. I mean, he has one state title. And kind of you talk about this, Nathan.
Yeah.
You win in 15 flat or you're 20th in 15 flat. Ackley shattered the course record. He has the fastest time in Ohio, but he was 4th. Kreft won the meet. That he had the record before. There were obviously several guys in front of Ackley when he broke the Ohio record.
Was also I see what you're saying. Like he had someone to push him.
Yeah. Whereas guys are soloing. You watch Dustin Horder. The dude just ran hard.
From the gun.
The gun went off and he just ran hard. I was watching a couple of his Eastern relays videos too. As junior and senior, he ran like 8:50 something and like 8:48.
8:48 senior year.
He just runs hard. He gets out basically as fast as he can and just runs. I mean, that is so much different just being out there hammering by yourself than to Connor Ackley just in a foot race with 10 guys for 2 miles and 5 guys for another mile.
I mean, that's why I would say Ackley's not the best of all time. I mean, there's so many guys too.
And like we say, you got to have those accolades. But at the end of the day, if you're, I don't know, say Dustin Horder and you're 5th in the state as a sophomore, a 5th in the state doesn't mean anything towards you need, what are your titles? And then you're like, Ackley, okay, Ackley was state runner-up in cross country last year, but he lost to Zagarsky. Zagarsky ran 14:39.
Why can't Zagarsky be the best guy then? Yeah.
Zagarsky, the only reason people don't talk about Zagarsky is because he was injured in outdoor. If we didn't have an injured Zagarsky, he could have gone 8:45.
And another thing too is that there was no national meets in cross last year. I think he would have done really well at those.
He did. He ran 14:35 at Garmin.
Well, the other 2 national meets. Sorry.
Sure.
What place to get?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Gotcha.
Who?
Zagarsky.
Last year, Zagarsky.
At RunningLane.
He was like 15th, I think.
Oh, God.
That's good, though, at RunningLane. That's where everyone went last year.
So he was... That's kind of like combining Nike and Footlocker together.
Let me fact check that real quick.
I think it goes to say what the RunningLane course is like. Because last year, Aaron Solomon was, I want to say, 6th at RunningLane. And he ran like 14:12. Okay? And he just broke the Nike course record on a very good day
41.
and won the whole thing by 7 seconds in 14:44.
44.
I mean, wow.
Short course? Or
I don't know what's happening. I've seen people measured it. It's net downhill. I don't know.
Something like that.
We're getting pretty long on time, so we can talk about this another episode.
I think we should continue this in another episode.
We need to. We got to dive in. Best Ohio athletes, best runners. Obviously, I wanted to see some real big stuff from Katie Kloot this cross country season after the state meet. I'm not sure if we're going to or not because I was curious if she was going to break in to kind of that conversation on the women's side.
And a good performance at Footlocker National.
She has.
We'll see.
More than as long as barring injury, which of course you got to account for, but Katie Kloot could finish as one of the best women this year in Ohio history.
She's one of the best times already.
Distance runners in distance, you're talking 32, 5K, 32. Some of the 16, you start pulling in some 800 runners for when you get there, but it counts. She'll be there, but I do want to note kind of something that's going to be hard to make an argument against. 1982, this is on the women's side, Kinney Cross Country Championships. That is Footlocker's previous name. Connie Robinson from Reading, Ohio, won the whole thing in 1640. That is insanity. We're going to have to do some digging because Mile Split doesn't have any track times on it.
Yeah, we're going to have
It's so far back. I don't know how we're going to do that. If anyone listens to this and wants to throw in any information, let us know. But it's that same thing. It's like, dang, she ran 1640. Yeah, and it was legit because it was at Kinney. They probably wheeled the whole thing out before.
Yes. Yeah.
Kinney is a staple.
And it was also in 1980, whatever, which makes it 1640 that much more impressive, too.
It doesn't matter. That would win anything.
Because they're running in flip-flops.
Right, for real.
Well, I'm just saying, that makes it a big statement that she might be the best ever.
Absolutely. Well, it's something we'll definitely dive into in a little bit. This is Talking Shop Podcast, Ohio's #1 running podcast. We'll be back next week or so.
Next
we'll
week,
see you guys.
Like that. See ya.
See ya.